Okay, we're going to kick straight off with Warren's favorite commodity, uranium. And delighted to welcome from Fission Uranium. The photo that is about to go up is of Ross McElroy, but they've upgraded to the chairman and CEO, Dev Randowa.
Thank you. Well, the Dalai Lama has spoken, Warren Gilman, that everything's going to go up, right? While it's going up, there we go. You know, the great thing about knowing you're not the smartest guy in the room is you quickly have to figure out who the smartest guy is. One of the smartest guys I've ever met is Rick Rule, and I know he's runs Sprott US, and he always argues he'd rather be in a sector that doesn't answer the question if something is going to happen, but it's going to be when. And so, in our view, it's a question of when. And when this move in the price of uranium happens, or in the stock, it'll be very volatile. Look at last week. You know, the Russian government decides that they don't want their company doing business with nuclear companies in the U.S., you know, another little childish fight, boom, stocks went up 25%. So when it does happen, it's going to move very quickly, and you better be positioned in these companies. You won't be able to say, oh, I see it moving. It won't be like a storm coming. It'll be very quick. And it's good news is very few good companies left, you know, and NextGen, ourselves, Cameco are very few names that are really, I think, worthwhile owning, that have good balance sheets, that have good assets. No matter how bad the markets are, you're going to see these projects go into production. You know, it's hard to understand the psyche of the utilities, you know, why they would contract 3 times as much when prices are high versus down. What I do is I do look at countries like China and the big oil, where I see where they don't put their finger up trying to figure out which way democracy is going and let's go further left. You know, like a good friend of mine said, a problem with democracy is people get to vote, everybody. And unfortunately, a lot of people are ill-informed. I can tell you how wonderful Ross and the team have done developing our asset, but we've won a number of awards. I think we're the most awarded group. The best one, I think, was the Mining Journal saying was the best project of exploration. That wasn't uranium, that was anything. And I think Rick Rule's gone on record of saying that the PLS project is the discovery of our lifetime in the last 30 years on video. And it's because not only is it high grade, it's large. Prior to what's been found on the west side, if you found 40 to 50 million pounds in the basin, you were big. Let's go to production. Now the standard is higher. So this is over 100 million pounds. You've got high grade, best of all, 50 meters from surface. So trying to sell this company someday is a little bit easier because there's a lot of companies that can do open pit. Very few can do deep underground. Ross has won a bunch of awards, but anyways, more than my parents think that we did a good job. If you owned the original company that I started with Rick Rule and a couple of others, you would own 4 shares in your company. What we're good at is think of an idea nobody's thought of, put some money into it, discover it, bring an Asian utility in, develop it, and sell it. We did it the first time with Sumitomo, with Strathmore, took out the Canadian assets, came Fission Energy. Peter Groskoff and group gave us money. We were able to bring in the Koreans, developed it, sold it to Denison. Took a small little asset, a couple of drill holes, which has become Fission Uranium today after acquiring the other half. And now we have CGN owning 20% of us, and they paid 85 cents a share when the stock was 60. And they did a couple $1 million worth of due diligence before they did that. So that's our history. If you like hanging out with guys who want to make you money, we're someone to look at. Why do we think it's fantastic? It's still early days, large, high-grade, shallow, and we've got a good PA, and it's a Saskatchewan. Not all of Canada hates energy, just so you know. I did wear some fancy socks so people would recognize I'm Canadian. Sorry, it's a shot at my leader. Electricity, I think this number is way wrong. Right now, as of December, the crypto world's already using as much energy as a country of Ireland, Macedonia, and countries like that. Just that industry. Now, they're going to get better, and they make it more efficient. Machines will get better. They won't, maybe it'll slow down. I don't know. But I don't but it's something that nobody thought of a year ago. Oh my gosh, we need more energy because of crypto. And we've also talked about, cobalt and lithium. But hang on, guys, where are you going to plug all these cars into, right? You need electrical energy, and it seems to have lost. So if we consider, don't think lead, Andrew, is part of the EV. We're gonna say uranium is then. But nobody's thinking about where do we gotta get all this energy. I don't know about you, but every night, what do? I'm plugging in crap everywhere, making sure I'm running like a machine next morning. Sorry, back here, I just want to point out, the growth is in China, Middle East, Saudi Arabia, and by the way, United Emirates and Saudi Arabia keep going higher, amazingly. Because I was there 4 years ago, and they think they'll have an energy deficit by 2030. Home of Cheap Oil thinks they're going to have a deficit. Again, supply side, look at how much of the energy, you got Kazakhs, Russia, a majority of uranium is coming from countries that are not exactly stable. And sure enough, last week's an example, whereas a tit-for-tat fight with some so-called spy sent home by Trump, and next thing you know, they got to retaliate. So, I don't trust anything government say, and I'll talk about the Kazakhs. 'Cause if the Kazakhs ever cut back 20% production, you would see a massive move. The other thing is, for me, what I do believe is Tim Getzel and the people at Cameco. I do believe that they will keep their word to shut down MacArthur, not bring it back. And that is about 50 million pounds. That is generally the overhang we have in our industry right now between underfeeding and Department of Energy and et cetera. So I do take that more seriously when Cameco says that. I had a glass of wine with Tim Getzel at the BMO conference. That's a lie. It was 3 glasses. But it sounds better if you say 1 glass, And then he said that you'll see Cameco's, Arriva's coming into the market because their cost of other stuff is $40. Why would they use 40 when they can buy? So it's the first time I've seen Tim Getzel actually excited in a few years. Generally, he's got this frown on his face. Maybe he's listening to investors complain about it. But, Cameco's gone from, $10 almost to 13. It was around 10.5. So you're starting to see our leader and start to move up, and we have to have them leading. As you can see, there's a lot of uranium over the next few years that is not covered, 1 billion pounds. Meaning utilities are not forward thinking like they used to be, and so there's a lot of uranium that's not being covered. And so there've got to be contracts. So it's a question of when, not if. This tells you, it's kind of a complicated one, but basically, I'll come over here. This is the contract. You can see as the spot price moves up, they contract more. In other words, when prices go up, they buy more uranium utilities. Again, if you guys did that, you wouldn't have jobs. This is why we're pretty excited. We get, by being owned by 20%, we hear what's going on. We see how aggressive they are. I've gone to CGN's fantastic new building, and they're talking about building these small ones for offshore drilling rigs for energy. So they see it simply growing. This is our basin. We're right in the middle of the country. We're about 200 kilometers from the nearest civilization. Everybody kept telling Ross and the team, there is no uranium on the west side. It's all here. But, our guys didn't listen. We tried a couple of ideas, and they worked. We found some boulders, and it made the discovery. And now suddenly the west is the place to be. And actually, this discovery is not in the basin. Everybody used to tell us it has to be in the basin, it has to be in the east. Well, we're on the west, and we're not in the basin, which is great because if you're in the east, you've got this sandstone, it'd be mining a milkshake, which is why Cigar Lake was 10 years behind. But that's gone, and instead, you've got now this beautiful basement rock that we enjoy and easier to mine. We love it because the grades are super high compared to the rest of the world. Now, why is it important to be close to surface? Because every deposit in the basin that has been shallow got mined first. because it's easier. So we are part of that low fruit. What this is hard to maybe read from back there, guys, but this is how deep the deposits are, and those are all the deposits. The grays have been mined, the greens have not. Whoever is, whatever easy fruit goes first, and that's where Fission's PLS falls. This is the length of the project. It's quite long. If the markets were better, we'd probably do more drilling and more exploration. But the reality is, I don't think we can move the needle a lot by finding more pounds. It really is a spot price of uranium that's going to be what moves the needle. We've done a PAA and et cetera, and as you can see, if it goes in production, rough numbers say it won't be expensive to mine. This year, we hope to have our pre-fees done, and next year, our feasibility. Our metallurgical work's shown up that we'll get high recovery, short leach times, low acid concentrations. We won't need bad things in it, no arsenic. Like, as you know, Midwest is really an arsenic mine with a bit of uranium in it. We won't have that, and low grinding power requirements. So we're quite excited about where we're going with it. That's our group. Recently, we brought on Rob Chang, a former award-winning analyst, as a board member. We're quite excited. I think we've got a good balance between business and market sense. 3, 2, 1. There we go. Thanks.
Give a round of applause. Thank you. Fantastic.